What is up, my friends? My name is Danny. Welcome back to Jones Vibes, and welcome back to all of you fans of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It has been far too long since I've made an Avatar video here on the channel, and I apologize about that. When it comes to saying you're sorry, you have to man up. I grew out half a mustache, and I came on here to say I'm sorry, okay? But honestly, when it comes to Season 2 of the Netflix live-action adaptation, there really hasn't been much over the past, 3 to 4 months. You really get the feeling like one of these days, the engine is going to get turned on, and the marketing is just going to start ramping up. I have a very strong feeling that's going to happen before the end of the year. I also have a source that has told me some really interesting things regarding production for Season 2 and Season 3. Now, I can't say those things yet. I'm waiting on word back whether I can say those things or not. But as we get closer and closer to 2026, keep an eye on my channel because I will be updating you guys as soon as things start coming out. But today, I thought it would be a really fun idea to talk about some of the changes that we need to see out of all of the characters heading into Season 2. And by all of the characters, I mean the main ones. I've talked about Aang on my channel. I have talked a little bit about Azula. I've talked about Zuko. I've even talked about Katara. But just thinking more in depth, comparing Season 1 and then heading into Season 2 and really thinking about where these characters need to evolve to, it just seemed like a really fun idea to go through each character and talk about the things that we want to see. Honestly, the things that we need to see. And so what I'm asking from you guys today is head down in the comments section and let me know the things that you specifically want to see from each character, because Season 1 gave us a lot to work with, but as fans of the original animated series, there is so much more potential when it comes to these characters. So what was missing from Season 1 that you want to see in Season 2 and Season 3, you know what I mean? So right from the jump, I think the most exciting character to talk about is Azula. This is really her season when it comes to Season 2. This is the buildup of Azula, and then the big climactic battle at the end. She's the one who is responsible for Aang's death. And for me, when I look at Season 1, I was kind of taken aback that they decided to do a couple things. I think the main one that they decided to do was kind of starting to dive into the madness, her sort of losing it a little bit. They showed the relationship that she has with Ozai, how she's trying to prove herself and definitely kind of has that battle going on between her and Zuko. She wants to inherit all the power, and that stuff is very understandable, but what I didn't think was going to happen is they show the inner turmoil going on within her mind, because you didn't see that early on in the series. It really wasn't until Season 3 where you kind of had Azula's demise, right? And so my feeling is heading into Season 2, if they're going to do that, if we're going to start that early on, let's just go full bore with it. Let's show how crazy that she can get. Let's show the, for lack of better wording, the mental instability that she has, right? She is going crazy and she is on a power trip. In Season 2, again, it focuses a lot on her. You have May and Ty Lee. You have the entire Earth Kingdom thing. You truly do spend a lot of time with Azula in Season 2, and so if we're going to showcase some of that crazy, I don't want it just to be cutting back and forth to Azula and Azula being I'm going to get the Avatar. I'm going to stop my brother. You know what I mean? Nothing simple and stupid. I want the writing for her character to be complex, and I really want them to give Elizabeth Yu something to chew on. She's a phenomenal young actress, and I want to see that turn. If we're going to do this early on, and we're going to work our way up to that scene at the end of Season 2 with her shooting the freaking lightning at Aang, let's feel what's going on with her, because we know what's happening with Aang there. We know that that's going to happen, but what's happening with Azula to build her up to that point, and how does that feel for Azula? In the cartoon, you just see her face, and you're God, dude, she's angry, she's pissed, and she's powerful, you know what I mean? But in the show, I want to know what that feels like. Is there any regret there, or is it all just determined rage? You know what I mean? Is she starting to kind of crack and lose it a little bit early on? That's really all I'm seeing with Azula. I just want them to focus on her character a lot more than maybe they even do in the show, and this is what I talk about with it being live action, where there are just more opportunities to do different things because you are humanizing these characters. We're seeing them in live action, right? So those are my thoughts on Azula. Moving on to Katara, and this is kind of almost a universal opinion when it comes to the first season. It was sort of where is Katara? When you start the animated series, you start with Katara. She's sort of the main character of the entire thing, and I didn't feel that. I did not feel that in the live action Season 1, and so heading into Season 2, we just need to see more. We just need her character to be more pronounced. Even the battle at the end of Season 1 with Master Paku, that could have felt so much more earned. I still enjoyed it. it. I thought it was really cool to see all of that play out in live action in a really fun way, but at the same time, like, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it the way that I wanted to. And so when it comes to Katara moving into season 2, everything that she has to go through, and then especially as we get into season 3, you start getting the Hama, the bloodbending stuff, but then just in season 2 and season 3, you have all of this stuff with Aang, you know, all of the relationship stuff with Aang. As these kids are getting older in season 2 and season 3, we're gonna have to get there. Like, we're gonna have to feel some sort of tension between these two, because at the end of the day, in terms of the show, they are like soulmates. And so I really hope that they give her the time to fully develop. I know we're introducing even more characters in season 2, and it sounds like the episode count is gonna be exactly the same, and so I don't know how they do that, but very similar to Azula, when it comes to the writing, let's just make sure we nail it. Like, let's make sure that if she has one line of dialogue, it's perfect. You know what I mean? And it says a lot about the character. Give Kiawentiio, again, some of the opportunities to really show us why she was chosen for this role. I think the most that I felt from Katara in season 1 was that when she was talking to Aang in the finale, when he's in the Avatar state. And that's something that really early on in the cartoon you get from Aang. You know what I mean? I know they replaced in season 1 when he goes to the Southern Air Temple and he sees Gyatso and he goes into the Avatar state. That's a moment in the cartoon when Katara calms him down, and that's one of the first times you see that relationship, like, oh wow. I mean, it's more of like a friendship thing there, like, oh my god, man, like, Aang needs somebody, and this is somebody in Katara's character that truly cares. Now, they didn't do that in live action. They chose to give Aang a character moment, which was needed, and I enjoy that, but I ended up getting that a little bit in the finale. We just need more of that in season 2. I need it so that when Aang gets hit with the lightning and he actually like dies and she brings him back, I need that moment to be super freaking emotional, dude. Some people might not care about that and they just care about the battles and the bending and all that stuff, but for me, like, the emotional tone is why Avatar: The Last Airbender is my favorite show of all time. You know, the fact that it can still make me, a grown man, cry, that's why I love it so much, and Katara is a big reason behind that, you know what I mean? So hopefully they can do right by her character in the coming seasons. But next, let's move on to the dude. Let's move on to Zuko. This season is everything for his character, but I don't feel like Dallas Liu has much else to prove, if that makes sense. So when you're looking at Zuko as the character as well as the performer in Dallas, I don't think he can do much more. He was one of the absolute highlights of the first season for me. I thought he was incredible, and so I'm just really looking forward to seeing what he can do with the performance of the character going into this, but also they just have to nail all of this stuff. You got Zuko alone. You have so many moments that are so integral for the turning of this character. This is the Empire Strikes Back moment for his character, where season 1 got a little bit passive and wacky with some of the moments. We really need to see that dark tone within Zuko. I mean, you have that like famous line, "You've always thrown everything you could at me, well, I can take it and now I can give it back." Like, those moments when he's standing there out in the storm, out in the rain, like, that is what's important from the character. That's what we need to see. And when it comes to the original series, Zuko is like everybody's favorite character. It's all there for you. So when it comes to live action, I almost feel like they can't screw this up unless they decide to completely go the other direction with his character or something like that. But again, it's all there, man. It's all there, and Dallas is phenomenal. So not much for Zuko. I'm really excited to see where all of that goes. Next, we have somebody that we have not even seen, but we have Toph. And with her character, we really have no idea what to expect. I mean, we've only seen like the one small teaser, and that wasn't even Mia Check's feed. So I'm really waiting until we see a teaser, some amount of dialogue, anything, a first look at her freaking character, just to get a grasp as to what they're trying to do. I know all of that drama happened earlier in the year. I've pretty much disproven a lot of that. Check out my channel. If you haven't seen those videos talking about the feminine thing, please give those videos a watch. I've ranted about that endlessly, but when it comes to Toph, I think what people want to see, as well as what I want to see, is just a certain amount of toughness from this young girl. I want to see it practically. Like, I would like to see that within the CGI as well as the practical effects. When it comes to the earthbending, I would like a clear-cut difference between what she's doing and what other characters are doing. I just want to see, like, she is the best earthbender ever. You know what I mean? Like, that needs to be showcased. It's very important for her character. And then as far as the dialogue, dude, I have no idea. Like, she needs to be hilarious. She needs to be the Toph that we know. And I pray that they can pull it off. This is a really hard character to pull off, Toph, guys. I don't know how they're going to do it. They cast me a check. I have a lot of faith in her, but at the same time, it's just, until we see something, it's really hard to picture and know what this is going to look like. And so I'd probably say Toph is the character that I'm most nervous about. But at the same time, after hearing about production and how much care they have going into this show and how much they've already taken care of the other characters, I'm not too overly concerned that they're going to like drop the ball completely and really screw her up. But I got a couple more here. I got a few more here to talk about. A couple of them aren't too big, so maybe I'll get those out of the way. First would just be Iroh. I think a lot of you can agree, if you saw season 1, that Sun-Hyung Lee just did a phenomenal job. He was kind of everything that I wanted to see from Iroh and more, as well as when it comes to those emotional moments. I think we can count on him when it comes to like the Liu Tan stuff. I think we can count on him to deliver in those moments, so I'm not too overly concerned about him. Very similar to with Zuko and Dallas Liu. I think what I want to see out of the characters is just more of that relationship stuff, kind of similar to what I was talking about with Azula. I just want those moments to feel earned, and at the end of this season, when Zuko is in there and Iroh catches him in the blue spirit mask and he's doing all of that stuff, and they have that moment where Iroh's kind of telling him, like, what are you doing? Is this really who you want to be, in a matter of words? I forget the exact dialogue, but that's really important, and when we get there, I just want to feel it. It's really important stuff when it comes to Iroh. I think season 3, when we're heading into season 3, that's when it gets weird with Iroh. That's when it gets important, when he's like beefing up and doing all the chin-ups and sit-ups and stuff. Like, that's going to be interesting to see from Sun-Hyung Lee. But this one very much just needs to feel similar to season 1 in a certain sense, but we are heading somewhere and it's about to get emotional. The next character I would talk about is Ozai, and we are fortunate to have already gotten some stuff from Ozai in season 1, so we already know how intimidating of a character he is. And when it comes to the animated series, we didn't see Ozai, so it is an opportunity for us to learn more, and I feel like throughout all of it, whatever we do get, I'm just happy because it's building up the big bad of the series, so that when we get to the big moments in the end, we're going to have a lot of history with Ozai. I don't necessarily think we need to go into a lot of his past, you know what I mean, quite yet. We get into some of that stuff in season 3, but I do feel like some of the stuff that we're going to dive into in season 2 revolving around Zuko's mom, that's going to be important to learn about. I think that really what you want to portray with Ozai is just pure evil. You don't really want to start cutting through to the heart of him quite yet, and so all that I'm looking for within the performance from Daniel is still just pure intimidation and pure fire and pure evil. That's all that I want out of that character. But moving on, we have Sokka. And I talked about Dallas Liu. If you follow my channel, I've talked a lot about Ian Ousley as well. Season 1 was just all Dallas and Ian for me. They were the two casts that were just spot on. They were perfect. But with Ian, it almost was too spot on. The dialogue wasn't quite goofy enough, but when it came to playing the character of Sokka, he was Sokka. He was just Sokka. They absolutely nailed it. And so in season 2 and season 3, I feel like there is an opportunity to really do this thing right. Not saying that they completely blew it in season 1, but I need a lot of that humor to come through, because in season 2, as well as just throughout the entire show, man, like, Sokka is the humor that is balancing this entire thing out. I want everything else when it comes to the live action, because it's not a cartoon. I want everything else to be really freaking serious, dude. I want it to be emotional in tone, but I need Sokka and Momo on the other side of things being that complementary piece like it is in the animated series, because if not, what are we really doing here? And when it comes to season 2, you do have the moments, you know what I mean? You have the cactus juice, you have him and Momo having all of these freaking moments, and I kind of forget what happened on season 1. I think it might have been a budget issue why they weren't showing Momo and Appa as much, but dude, I really hope in season 2 and season 3 that those two characters are a big part of it. And when it comes to those two, and when it comes to Momo specifically, just him and Sokka need to have these moments that make you tear up laughing. I feel like season 1 kind of played it safe when it came to the humor. Maybe they made a few jokes here and there that just didn't really land for him. And we already know that he has a good heart. You know, they definitely showcased that in season 1. They definitely showcased some of that emotional stuff. I kind of like what they did with Princess process Yue and all of that. But to me, and I don't even know how to explain this, I need less like, no, Katara, and more like, it's the quenchiest, you know what I mean? I just want them to get a little bit closer to what Sokka is in the animated series, because, I mean, when it came to the live-action movie that came out, if you guys remember that, you guys remember Sokka in that? Like, that's the shit that we don't need. We don't want that weird Twilight serious Sokka. We want goofy Sokka. That's what this live-action series is for. It's meant to be a good adaptation, and so I want to see a lot from Ian, man. I know that he's a phenomenal actor, and I hope that the writing is there for him, and I hope that the performance is there. But last but certainly not least, I've already made videos talking about what I want to see from Aang, but the more that I've thought about it, and the more that I've thought about his character, there's one word that comes to mind, and it is just grounded. Like, when it comes to Aang's character in the animated series, he is the one that everything revolves around. He is the one that is grounding the entire thing, and when you finally start to realize, or at least in the moments that you realize, that the entire fate of everything rests on his shoulders, that's when the show thrives. That's when you start to feel that emotion come through of like, oh my god, this is massive, you know what I mean? I don't think we quite got that from Gordon in season 1. Truly. I mean, he played the young kid who's kind of naive pretty well, but a lot of the dialogue just sort of felt like it was being blurted out and he was just reading the lines. I really need Gordon's performance in this second season to ground things. Like, I need the character in general. A lot of this isn't all on the actors as well. A lot of this comes down to the writing as well. Like, I need the writing to ground this character for all of us so that we can realize, oh, this is what Aang's character is. You know what I mean? I'm not sure that quite yet they have captured the essence of what Aang is, and he's the most important character. That's where we're heading towards in season 3. It needs to feel right, and so I just really hope that they give him the opportunity to breathe a little bit in this second season. I hope the pace isn't just jumping from thing to thing, and that we spend the proper amount of time with the main character of this show, with Avatar Aang, to really understand what he's going through and what all of this means and who he is as a character. Yeah, you know, I'm leaving out a couple characters, leaving out Suki, Mei, Ty Lee, you know what I mean, some of the other characters, but it really felt like a good opportunity to talk about the main people in this show and what we need to see out of them moving forward. So at this point, please head down in the comments section. I really want to hear from you guys what you want to see in season 2, because I have my opinions, but I really like to get a gauge as to where you guys are at with all of this. Also, sometimes I don't script these videos out, so I might think of something later and I might see that in a comment of yours and be like, oh yeah, that's right. You know what I mean? There might be some things that are missing. So head down to the comment section, let me know. As always, subscribe if you're new to the channel, but more than anything, my friends, I hope you're out there keeping up the good vibes, all right? I will see you in the next video. Peace!